This is a representation of the first gaming monitor I ever bought. 2560 by 1440p, 60 hertz. I say representation because back in college when I bought my first gaming monitor, I couldn't really afford a big name brand one, so I bought a brand called Cat Leap. And if you know what those are, you're just as old as me. Now they aren't making Cat Leap monitors anymore, which is a real bummer, but back around 2011 when I bought one, it was a big deal. That name brand was a big deal for me. Back in 2011, 1440p monitors were expensive. Some of them reaching into the thousands of dollar range for just a 1440p monitor at 60 hertz. And that's $1,000 in 2011 money. Now, obviously, being in college at the time, $1,000 on a gaming monitor was just something that I could not do. I couldn't buy a big name brand monitor and spend $1,000 in college. That was unobtainable. But I still did want that 1440p crispy gaming experience, and Cat Leap was the way to do that back then. They still used LG panels. They were lower bin, so there was like a possibility that the one you bought might have a dead pixel in it, but that was a gamble I was willing to take to get that 1440p gaming experience. And I think if I remember right, I paid like $300 for the one that I got back then, and I surprisingly couldn't find one dead pixel. And trust me, I looked. I went through the whole entire screen, every single color, looking for a dead pixel, and to my knowledge, I don't remember seeing one. And that gaming monitor worked for years. I used it through the entirety of college. I gamed on it forever. I had it till not long ago until I decided I was going to try to tear it apart into a different video, make a project out of it, and I ended up breaking it. But all in all, even though the build quality was sus, it was wobbly, the picture worked great, and the gaming experience was amazing. Going from 1080p to 1440p was huge. Like everything looked so much better, cleaner, crisper. I loved it. Now fast forward to 2017, I was out of college at this point. I had some expendable income. I had some money to throw around, and I wanted to upgrade my gaming setup again. And at the time, I had never used a high refresh rate monitor, and I had heard that they were just, after you use them, you're never going back, and that was something I wanted to try. So in 2017, I decided to buy an Asus ROG Swift PG279Q 27-inch 1440p display with a refresh rate of 165 hertz. That guy right back there on the bottom. I still got it. It still works. And that thing cost me $852.93 in 2017 money. And although I had a real job at the time, that was a boatload of money to spend on a monitor. But the hype was real. Going from 60 hertz to 165 was mind-blowing. Like everything was smoother, everything felt better. I played games better, I swear. And I was happy with that setup ever since. Like, I mean, I used that monitor forever. I really didn't see the point to going to anything. What am I gonna go to, like a 240 refresh rate monitor, 240 hertz? Like, what's the difference between 165, 240? I mean, 60 to 144 or 165 is huge, but I didn't see any benefit going to 240. At that point, my graphics card would be like the limiting factor, so I just stuck with that one forever. I was happy. I see no reason to upgrade. And then BenQ sent me this, and I learned real quick, I didn't know what I didn't know. This is the BenQ ultrawide EX3415R, which is a 3440 by 1440p, which is 21:9 aspect ratio at 144 hertz. This thing, once again, blew my mind. I never really gave much thought to ultrawides. I was pretty happy with my standard 16:9, 165 hertz display. I didn't even think to even look into ultrawide displays. It didn't really come across my mind. But it was another one of those things. Once this 21:9 aspect ratio showed up, I was like, you can't go back to normal. What could be better than an ultrawide? A super ultrawide, obviously. This is the Innocen 49Q1S, and this thing is incredible. I gave you the history of my gaming monitor purchases because every time I thought I'd reached the pinnacle of what I thought could be the best for a gaming display, I was wrong. I was proven wrong time and time again, and this is another one of them times that I've been proven wrong. The Innocen 49Q1S is a 49-inch super ultra-wide with a 32:9 aspect ratio, which means its resolution is 5120 by 1440p. The panel that it uses is a quantum dot OLED. Now I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know what a quantum dot OLED was. I had heard of OLED before, but not quantum dot OLED. But from what I've learned, in a nutshell, a quantum dot OLED is basically an OLED panel, but it's brighter, it has better color performance. So if you know what an OLED TV looks like, or an OLED display that you've seen at like Best Buy, and you're like blown away by how good it looks, well, quantum dot OLED is just that experience a step further. QD OLED panels tend to be a bit brighter than traditional OLED panels, and the colors stay saturated even at those high brightness levels. This means better color volume, so images look richer, more vibrant in both dark and bright scenes. The refresh rate of this monitor is 240 hertz, and the monitor itself has a curvature of 1800R, which is absolutely amazing for gaming. When you're gaming, you're pretty close to a monitor, so having a monitor this big kind of somewhat wrap around your head is very nice. Essentially what you have here is two 27-inch 1440p displays that are HDR capable in one. Now there is a slight problem to a monitor this size, is that not all games support an aspect ratio of 32:9. So like Overwatch, a game that I used to play a lot, especially when I got that first curved monitor, the 21:9, Overwatch doesn't support 32:9. The good thing is Battlefield 6 does, and I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 looks amazing, and it supports 32:9. But even going back and playing games like Overwatch, because this is an OLED or a quantum dot OLED display, when you're playing Overwatch and you have to shrink it down to 21:9, you don't get those gray bars on the side that you would from a normal display. Since it's quantum dot OLED, you just get black. It's kind of like you took the bezels of the monitor and you shrunk it in, and it's not even really as noticeable. It's not as jarring as it would be otherwise. Now, even though this is a gaming monitor, I did notice that it's not just gaming that I enjoy using this thing. For productivity tasks, it's amazing. Like when I edit videos, I can see my entire timeline at the bottom, which is nice. And then also SolidWorks. So I do a lot of SolidWorks at work, and I have SolidWorks that I use on this sometimes. And it's great because you get a huge canvas to design parts in. And because it's basically two screens in one, you can take that huge window and break it into two full-size screens and have different parts on each one, and just slide your mouse in between the two and compare different aspects and different features. That part I wasn't expecting to enjoy that much, but it is great. The 49Q1S offers picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture. So like think in gaming, you could use your PIP, have your gaming, you could be playing a game and then have your PIP screen somewhere on the monitor, playing a YouTube video or podcast or whatever you wanted to watch. Or you could run this thing as essentially two monitors in PBP. You could have your computer hooked up, inputting one side, and then have like a console on the other side, or maybe a different PC, and then you essentially have two monitors in one, but using different computers. That's pretty cool. I guess you could run like even like a Blu-ray player on one if you want to watch a movie on one side and game on the other. You do whatever you want. The inputs on the monitor include one HDMI that supports up to 240 Hertz, two display ports that also support up to 240 Hertz, one USB-C, which again supports up to 240 Hertz and is able to deliver 90 watts of power, two USB-As, one USB-B 3.0, an RJ45, and a 3.5 millimeter audio out. This monitor does have integrated speakers like 2.1, so you get one subwoofer, a 12 watt one, and then you get two 5 watt mid to high range speakers. They're good. I mean, for a monitor, speakers are good. It's not gonna like replace your headset or like dedicated speakers, but in a pinch, if you want speakers on a monitor, they're decent, I would say. It also does have an integrated dual array microphone integrated into it. Not something that I need or use. My headset has a microphone, but it's there if you need it, if you want to use it. But the big question that everybody's going to want to know is, what does a monitor like this cost in 2026? The 49Q1S is currently $1,259.99 on Amazon, which I think is actually a pretty good deal, which you might be like, well, I don't know how you think $1,000 plus monitor is a good deal, but thinking back to what I spent in 2017, like I said, I bought that Asus Swift monitor for $852.93. That's just a 27-inch standard display, 165 Hz monitor. But that $852 is 2017 money, and if you adjust that with inflation in 2026, that means I would have spent $1,159.82. The 49Q1S is basically the same price. It's pretty close to the same price as what I paid back then for that monitor, but you get much more. You essentially get two monitors. You get OLED, you get built-in speakers. That one didn't even have speakers. You get so much more for the same amount of money. It's kind of nuts how far display tech has gotten over the years. That's like 10 years between when I bought that and nowadays. So if you're a gamer and you remember back when you went from 60 Hertz to like 140 and how big of a deal that was, going to something like this, an OLED display at 240 Hertz that's super ultra wide, it's like that times 10. Now, another thing I think it's important to talk about is the panel used in this display. If you remember, the reason I bought the Cat Leap monitor is because it used an LG panel. It was a lower bin panel, yeah, and it might have had a dead pixel or two, but that was a gamble I was willing to make. Things have gotten a lot better. The panel used in this monitor is the same Samsung panel that's used in like the Samsung Odyssey OLED G9 or the Asus ROG Swift PG49WCD, or even like the MSI MPG 491 CQPX Quantum Dot OLED. Essentially what I'm saying is it uses the same panel that all these other big name brands also use. And you don't have to take the gambit that it might have a dead pixel in it. Essentially what this means is even though you might not have heard of this brand, you most likely have heard of one of the others. And they use the same panel. So Essentially what you're comparing is the build quality, the firmware that's different between these panels. Build quality wise, it's sturdy, it doesn't wobble around, it's nice, it's got LED lights on it. Really not much to say about that. I didn't see anything I disliked. Firmware, I mean, it's a monitor. I mean, the software firmware, the menus worked, it was snappy, you could find everything I needed to, it was easy to change inputs. It's good, I guess. I mean, I like the Innocen 49Q1S. I do think I would purchase this. I mean, I know I would because I bought that thing for basically the same price way back then. And that was a top of the line monitor back in the day with no speakers or anything like that. But what you get for roughly the same price in 2026 is just at a different level. And I'm almost considering buying one of these to use at work, given how much I like using this for SolidWorks. Having a display this big with how much SolidWorks I use at the office would be kind of awesome. The funniest part was after I got this and started using it and saw how good it was in gaming, I immediately had a bad idea of what I wanted to try to do with this. So obviously we're gonna have to try that. This might be a new record for the dumbest thing I'm gonna try, but why not? All right, who is ready for peak stupidity? Because I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the dumbest things I've thought of, but I did it anyway. I made this thing, and I bet you don't have a clue what this is. This is pretty stupid, but what I wanted to do with a panel that big, given that it's basically two 27-inch panels side by side, I was wondering, could you use it for 3D viewing? Now there's something called side-by-side viewing. Essentially you get two images that are slightly different that each eye sees, and then in your brain merges them together into one 3D image. And I know people can sit and train themselves to do it, but I wanted to be able to try to focus only on the screens. I wanted to cut out all the outside world, and then I wanted to be at like roughly the perfect distance. And what I could see, it's roughly this far. I think this is like 80 centimeters, something like that. It's pretty far, and then obviously it's huge because it's got to fit on the monitor. Now that monitor is curved 1800R. However, I did find out that it's not all curved. At the very tips, about 7 inches on each end is pretty straight, which I found out after the fact, and then had to print some stuff. And given how big this was, even though I have the H2S and the H2D, this obviously doesn't fit on a printer, so I just cut it up randomly without thinking about it and printed it. And then when I had all the pieces out on my desk, I found out I made a real mistake. So it took me a long time to put this together. But after basically building a 3D puzzle for hours, I got everything where I needed to be. To get everything to stick together, I just used the same trick that I've been using, the 3D printing pen, welding the edges together. And it turned out pretty stiff. Now the original intent was to 3D print this whole thing, but I quickly figured out that that would be probably too heavy. It's probably already going to be pretty heavy for that monitor to support it. Now I don't use the standard stand. I have just a metal arm that holds my monitors, but I think it's going to be a little droopy with just this much weight. So instead of printing everything, I basically made a skeleton yellow frame, and then I used some matte black paper to try to cover up everything else. And then down the middle, you can see there's a divider to keep my eyes separate from each image. And I'm going to try to see if I can use this to 3D view or side-by-side view on that monitor, because I think it'll be cool with two giant displays, seeing if I can see them in 3D. Now, if you remember those books back in the day where you had just like a weird pattern on it, and if you stared at it, you could like see a 3D image, I could never do those. So I don't think I'll have a very good chance of pulling this off, but I'm gonna try it. Now, before I put my contraption on here and see if I can make my eyeballs work, I figured I better just see if I can even do this to begin with. Now, there's a website called sbs-3d.com where you can go and look at 3D images, and I've heard 3D images are way easier than video. So I'm gonna start here. And I kind of was messing around with this on my phone originally, but now I got it on my PC. So you click on cross-eyed. There's two ways to do this: cross-eyed and parallel. Cross-eyed, your eyes are obviously crossed, looking at different images, and then your brain merges them to one. Parallel, you're looking at each eye's looking at images in front of you, and then it merges them into one. This is actually surprisingly easy to do. So what you do is you put your finger up between your eyes and the image, and you focus on the tip of your finger, and you kind of just move in and out, just looking at your finger, and eventually your brain just merges them, and then all of a sudden it just clicks, and like the two images go away, and there's this one 3D image that's very good. It's kind of shocking. And then once you get that, your eyeballs to just lock in, you can just take your finger away and you can just look anywhere around the pictures. Your eyes just got it figured out. It just feels weird because you know that your eyes are crossed, and everything else you can't really see anything else except for this one 3D image, but it's pretty cool, I'll tell you that. Now the parallel one, what this thing says to do is you're supposed to just like relax your eyes and try to look through the image and get your eyes to kind of separate and look at each one, and then it does the same thing where it merges. And that's what we're going to try to do with this, and hopefully keeping the outside out. I don't even know if this is even necessary. I thought this was going to be hard to do, but this cross-eyed one seems easy. So I guess we'll see how this ding-dong thing fits. It's also probably gonna be way too heavy. My arm can't support it. It fits on there. Actually, that kind of works out because it just sits on the ground. All right, let's see. I gotta find an image. So here's my beautiful setup. I used a power supply to kind of lift it up a little bit. There's an image in there of a Volkswagen Beetle. So I clicked on the parallel one, so I should be able to just put my head up here and then somehow make my eyeballs forget how to be eyeballs and just look at separate images. Okay, it's way harder than the cross-eyed one because I have my finger to look at as a reference to get my eyeballs into position. This I'm just trying to will it. The pictures are moving and get them to start shifting. I haven't got them to click together yet. I don't know, guys. I've been sitting here for a while. I can't get my eyeballs to do it. The cross-eyed one's so much easier. Maybe I'm too close, too far. I don't know. Let me try it without this big goofy thing. Okay, I went back to the cross-eyed one because it's so much easier. I cannot get my eyes to do the parallel thing, but I can do this cross-eyed thing. Like, it's so easy. I just went back. There we go. I went back to the same picture just to see if I could do it. I mean, that looks good, and you can. Oh, I lost it. But I mean, after you get it locked in, it just stays there. I wonder if I could. Is there a cross-eyed video? I want to see if I can do a video. All right, I found this video, a drone video that's cross-eyed, and I was trying this a little bit off camera. This is a lot harder, and yeah, I found out I have to be way. You probably can't even see me on camera because I gotta be all the way back here. But I do the same thing, right? The same finger up. You move it in and out, and eventually you'll get that image to lock in. And maybe the screen's actually too big, but you can get it to lock in. And then once you do it, you can obviously watch the video cross-eyed. It feels weird. It's not like the image where the two other images go away and you just see the 3D image. On this big display with this big cross-eyed image on it, you can see the center one in focus, and it does look 3D, but then you have like, you can still see shadows on each side of the other image, so it's not as cool as the picture. Maybe if I just make it smaller. Maybe I'm going too big. There we go, I got it. I mean, smaller is, okay, I've learned something. Maybe the big screen is too big because I have to be like way farther back than I can. But once I get it locked in on the smaller view, this looks pretty good. I bet my eyeballs are cross-eyed. Oh, I lost it. All right, well, that's a bummer because I made that and it doesn't really even work because, I don't even think I can do the parallel. I was trying without the shroud, different distances. My eyeballs just don't understand to not look at a point on the screen. With this cross-eyed one, it's so much easier just to look at your finger and then all of a sudden those back screens merge together and your eyes are like, well, what's that? And then you're locked in on it. It's easy. So we learned that I wasted a lot of time on this 3D printed project, but it did lead me to find out that I could just do cross-eyed viewing on this website. That's actually pretty cool. And then you can do it on video. And this screen is great. I love this giant monitor. I guess I probably didn't need this big to do cross-eyed viewing, but I didn't even know what cross-eyed viewing was until I got this and had this dumb idea. So there's that. Till next time.